Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radha Shyama Sundar, Radhe Radhe. Jaya Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva Subhadra, Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jai Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hey, what are you doing?
Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Praladalagadayi. Praladalagadayi. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaham. Hiranyakashi Purvakshaham. Shilatankankanai. Shilatankankanai. Ito Narsingo Parato Narsingo. Ito Narsingo Parato Narsingo. Yato yato yami tato Narsingo. Yato yato yami tato Narsingo. Mahe Narsingo. Hridaye Narsingo. Mahe Narsingo. Hridaye Narsingo. Narasimhamadin Sharanantapare. Narasimhamadin Sharanantapare. Tavakara Kamalavae Naka. Adbhuta Singha. Sita Hiranya Kasipo. Tanavenga. Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Tavakar Kamalavae Naka Adbhuta Singha Dalita Hiranya Kasipo Tanavenga Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jaya Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Keshavadita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jaya Narsinga Dev 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 Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Narahari Narahari Jaya Narahari Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Prahlad Maharaj Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Nittai Gaura Haribo 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 Nittai Gaura Haribo Nittai Gaura Haribo 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 Nittai Gaura Haribo नरसिंह देव भगवान की जय प्रहलाद महाराज की जय शिला प्रभुपाद की जय न प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण
Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
जय की जय
Still waiting, I think Maharaj had to join. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, are you able to hear us?
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining us, giving your valuable time and association. Madhupad Prabhu, Devkinand Prabhu, I'd like to introduce.
Meanwhile, I would like to request the participants on Zoom to put on their cameras so we can see you.
Yes. Okay, go ahead with the introduction. Maybe they're busy or on mute. Giriraj Swami Maharaj was born as Glenn Philip Teton. And Maharaj has related this pastime later on. Prabhupada understanding this greatness of Teton Mountains. So Prabhupada aptly given the name Giriraj, Govardhan's name to Maharaj. The only son of a respected Chicago lawyer who was later appointed judge in April 1969. While studying at Brandeis University in Boston, he met His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON, from whom he felt he learned more in one brief exchange than he had learned in his many years of academic education. After graduating from the university, he accepted formal initiation from Sri Prabhupada and received the spiritual name Giriraj Das. Giriraj quickly became a leading member of Boston Center and was soon given the opportunity to go to India with Sri Prabhupada and help establish his mission there. In 1972, Sri Prabhupada appointed Giriraj president of ISKCON Bombay and trustee of the Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. Since then, he has made many significant contributions to Sri Prabhupada's mission, most notably overseeing all aspects of the development of Hare Krishna land in Juhu, Bombay.
ये अलग
He was
रखना है
instrumental in the acquisition and
नहीं है
development
ये
of the Bhaktivedanta ashram in Govardhan and led the development of Kirtan ashram for women, Bhaktivedanta hospice, and Vrindavan Institute of Palliative Care, all in Vrindavan. In the years following Sri Prabhupada's departure in 1977, Giriraj was awarded the renounced Order of Life and appointed President of ISKCON's Board of Trustees in India. In
आगे रानी को कर लो
1982, he was appointed to ISKCON's GBC and he
नहीं
went
थोड़ा
on to
सा बस उसमें
oversee the
मिलाएंगे पी सकते हैं
society's
कि नहीं
activities in
थोड़ा सा मिला
Bombay,
देंगे
Mauritius,
चीनी और
South
वही तो है
Africa, Spain, Portugal, Sri
अभी
Lanka,
अपन
and
लोग नहीं पी
Pakistan.
सकते
And Maharaj also taught at the VIHE, Vrindavan Institute of Higher Education, and continues to lecture and to give presentations at Japa retreats and workshops around the world. Presently, Maharaj is in California. So, thank you so much, Maharaj.
So,
We offer respectful obeisance at your lotus feet.
shall I begin?
Yes, Maharaj, please.
So first, I will sing the Mangalacharana prayers and lead a short kirtan, and then I will speak on today's verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Krishna Prastaya Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Asatya Desatarini
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta-vrinda.
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
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 Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Srila Gurudeva.
Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Srila Gurudeva.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajak Acharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajak Acharya Stotra Satasri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we shall read from Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, Karma Yoga, text 10. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sahayagya Praja Shristva Purovacha Prajapati Anena Prasavishyadvam Eshavostvishta Sahayagya Praja Shristva Purovacha Prajapati Anena Prasavishyadvam Eshavostvishta Saha, along with yagya, sacrifices, praja, generations, shristva, creating, pura, anciently, uvacha, said, Prajapati, the Lord of creatures, anena, by this, prasavishyadvam, become more and more prosperous. Esha, this, va, your, us too, let it be, ishta, of all desirable things, kamaduk, bestower. Translation. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yagya, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. All living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of their relationship to Vishnu or Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Vedic principles are to help us understand this eternal relation. As it is said in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedya. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. In the Vedic hymns, it is said, Patim Vishvasyamechvaram. Therefore, the Lord of all living entities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the first point, although it is not mentioned explicitly, but the Lord of all creatures is Vishnu or Krishna. And this verse tells us how we can get everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. And what more could we want? That we live happily in this present life and then we attain liberation. So it is a perfect formula to give all of us what we want, ultimately. Be thou happy by this yajna, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. So, in the verse, it is said, Prajapati, the Lord of creatures. And as Srila Prabhupada explains further in the purport, in the Srimad Bhagavatam also, 2:420, Srila Shukadev Goswami describes the Lord as Pati in so many ways. Shriya Patir Yagya Pati Prajapati Diyam Patir Lokapatir Darapati Patir Gatis Chandaka Vrishti Sattvatam Prasidatam Me Bhagavan Satam Pati. The Prajapati is Lord Vishnu, and he is the Lord of all living creatures, Prajapati, all worlds, all beauties, and the protector of everyone. The Lord created this material world to enable the conditioned souls to learn how to perform yagyas, sacrifices, for the satisfaction of Vishnu, so that while in the material world, they can live very comfortably without anxiety, which we all want. And after finishing the present material body, they can enter into the kingdom of God, which we all want. That is the whole program for the conditioned soul. That's it's our whole program right here. By performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. Now, how can we perform yajna? As you know, there are 4 ages which repeat in cycles, like the 4 seasons. And in Satya Yuga, the recommended process of self-realization or God realization was meditation. In Treta Yuga, the recommended process was performance of Vedic sacrifices, yajna. In Dwapara Yuga, the recommended process was temple worship. And in the present age of Kali Yuga, the recommended process is Sankirtan. So how can we, in Kali Yuga, perform yajna as described in the verse? Srila Prabhupada explains. So, by performance of yajna, the conditioned souls gradually become Krishna conscious and become godly in all respects. In the age of Kali, which we are in now, the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended in the scriptures. And this transcendental system was introduced by, who was it introduced by? This transcendental system, Sripad Madhvacharya, do you know the answer?
Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes, yes, very good. In the age of Kali, the Sankirtan Yajna, the chanting of the names of God, is recommended by the Vedic scriptures. And this transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Sankirtan Yajna and Krishna consciousness go well together. Indeed, Sankirtan Yajna and Krishna consciousness go well together. because by performance of Sankirtan Yoga, one becomes Krishna conscious. And if one is Krishna conscious, one will want to engage in Sankirtan. Lord Krishna, in his devotional form as Lord Chaitanya, is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32 as follows, with special reference to the Sankirtan Yagya. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajantihi Sumedasa. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yagya. So this verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, has many important verses, has many important words, and I will explain this very deep and pertinent verse. Krishna Varnam. So Krishna means Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Varnam. Varnam has two meanings. One meaning is category, like we have the four Varnas. So Krishna Varna means that he is in the same category as Krishna, which in effect means he is Krishna. And Varnayat means to describe. So Krishna Varnam also means that he is always describing Krishna or glorifying Krishna. Then Tvisa Akrishnam. Tvisha means color, and Krishna means black. And Akrishna means not black. So, although he's Krishna, but his color is not Krishna, is not blackish. Sango Pangastra Parshadam. So Sangha, that means associated with, associates. Sango Pangastra. Astra means weapons. So his Parshada, his associates, in a way are his weapons who kill the influence of Kali. Then Yagyai, by performance of Yagya, Sankirtana, Prayar, and they perform Sankirtan Yagya. As an intelligent people, Sumedasa, Yajantihi Sumedasa, he's worshipped by intelligent people. Sumedasa. And we find the other word, opposite, Alpha Medasa, which means small intelligence. Alpha Medasa, men of small intelligence, worship the demigods. But they do not know that they are worshiping in the wrong way, avidipurvakam, and that such worship is meant for Krishna. alone. So this is very deep and encouraging. Krishna Varnam Tvisa Krishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayar Yajanti Hisumedasa. In this age of Kali, people who are endowed with sufficient intelligence will worship the Lord, who is accompanied by his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yagya. So you all with us today are Sumedasa, who are very intelligent. Did you know that? Well, it's certified and confirmed here that you all are very intelligent, Sumedasa. And if anyone accuses you of being dumb or stupid, you can say, no, I am Sumedasa. I am very intelligent because I am worshiping Lord Chaitanya by performance of Sankirtan Yagya. Other yagyas prescribed in the Vedic literatures are not easy to perform in this age of Kali. But the Sankirtan Yagya is easy and sublime for all purposes, as recommended in the Bhagavad Gita also, 9:14. So many of you know this verse, Bhagavad Gita 9:14, but since Srila Prabhupada drew our special attention to it in the purport, I will read that also because it will encourage us in this performance of Sankirtan. So text 14, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha drida namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upashate. Satatam, always. Kirtayanta, chanting. Mam, about me. Yatanta, fully endeavoring. Cha, also. Drida vritaha, with determination. Namasyanta, offering obeisances. Cha, and. Mam, me. Me, bhaktya, in devotion. Nitya yukta, perpetually engaged. Upasate, worship. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Mahatma, because the previous verse described Mahatmas, Mahatmanam Tumam Partha, Daiving Prakriti Mashritaha, Bhajantyananya Manasho, Gyatva Bhutadim Avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They're fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. And then the next verse continues, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says the Mahatma cannot be manufactured by rubber stamping an ordinary man. His symptoms are described here. A Mahatma is always engaged in chanting the glories of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. He has no other business. He is always engaged in the glorification of the Lord. In other words, he is not an impersonalist. When the question of glorification is there, one has to glorify the Supreme Lord, praising his holy name, his eternal form, his transcendental qualities, and his uncommon pastimes. One has to glorify all these things. Therefore, a Mahatma is attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So once when Srila Prabhupada was in Bombay, he and some of his disciples were staying at Sea-Faced Park in sort of South Bombay. And every evening, Srila Prabhupada would speak to us about the nectar of devotion, which was very relishable for us. But sometimes people heard that Srila Prabhupada was speaking, and they would find their way up to the room to join the class. And when they did, Srila Prabhupada changed the level of discussion from the nectar of devotion to the Bhagavad Gita, because the nectar of devotion is really for devotees. So one evening, a very prominent Hindu named B.M. Kamdar found his way up to the class, and he asked Srila Prabhupada that India has so many Mahatmas, but still India has so many problems. How could that be? Because in the presence of Mahatmas, there should be no such problems. And Srila Prabhupada replied, the reason there are so many problems is that you do not know who is a Mahatma and who is not a Mahatma. That's the problem. And then he quoted these verses, went on to explain who is a Mahatma and who is not a Mahatma, even though the person might be called Mahatma. Yeah, it was a very interesting discussion. And yeah, we have to know who's a Mahatma and who's not. One who is attached to the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord, the Brahmajyoti, is not described as a Mahatma in the Bhagavad Gita. He is described in a different way in the next verse. The Mahatma is always engaged in different activities of devotional service, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing and chanting about Vishnu, not a demigod or human being. That is devotion. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, and Smaranam, remembering him. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas. So what are the 5 transcendental rasas? Please raise your hand or speak up. You know, don't be shy.
Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Maharaj.
Yes. And can you translate this Sanskrit into English?
Neutrality, Shanta, Dasya is servant, Sakya is friendship, and then Vatsalya is parent-child, and then conjugal is loving relationship. Madhurya, or conjugal love.
Yes. Very good. Such a Mahatma has firm determination to achieve at the ultimate end the association of the Supreme Lord in any one of the 5 transcendental rasas. To achieve that success, he engages all activities, mental, bodily, and vocal, everything, in the service of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. That is called full Krishna consciousness. In devotional service, there are certain activities which are called determined, Dhridavrataha, as we read in the verse, such as fasting on certain days, such as the 11th day of the moon, Ekadasi. Today is Ekadasi. So we are fasting, at least, from grains and beans. And on the appearance day of the Lord. All these rules and regulations are offered by the great acharyas, those who are actually interested in getting admission into the association of the Supreme Lord in the transcendental world. So, are you interested in getting admittance into the association of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the transcendental world? Yes.
Yes.
Of course, that's why you're here. The Mahatmas, great souls, strictly observe all these rules and regulations, and therefore they are sure to achieve the desired result. Guaranteed. As described in the 2nd verse of this chapter, not only is this devotional service easy, but it can be performed in a happy mood. One does not need to undergo any severe penance and austerity. You can live this life in devotional service, guided by an expert spiritual master, and in any position, either as a householder or a sannyasi or a brahmachari, in any position and anywhere in the world, he can perform this devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and thus become actually Mahatma, a great soul. So this is very encouraging. There is another verse in the Bhagavad Gita that describes Mahatma. Bahunam janmanam ante gyanavam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti samahatma sudurlabha. That means after many births and deaths, one who is actually wise surrenders unto Krishna. And such a great soul is very, very rare. So when we had our first big Pandal program in Calcutta in 1971, perhaps October of 1971, I published a souvenir book because we would collect ads for the souvenir book, and by receiving the money for the ads, we were able to finance the Pandal program. And I didn't like to compete against other devotees. It just didn't seem to suit me. But I came across a souvenir book of Swami Chinmayananda. And I resolved that I will go to everyone who gave an ad in his souvenir book and get a bigger ad for our souvenir book. So it was a sort of competition in a way, and I was quite successful. The first Bombay Pandal was a great success. And afterwards, Srila Prabhupada sent Tamal Krishna Goswami and me to Calcutta to put on a Pandal program there. And Tamal Krishna Goswami told me, you collect the money and I will spend the money. So, okay, sure. So that's how we did it. And, with this determination in a way to defeat Swami Chinmayananda's collection of ads for his souvenir book, we actually did collect quite a bit. So, yeah, but this, Srila Prabhupada did say one thing about chanting, and it sort of goes along with what we've been reading, like this determination, Dridavrata. He said that chanting is easy, but the determination to chant is not so easy. The actual process of chanting is very easy. But the determination to chant and to keep up the chanting, even in the face of so many distractions that may come up in the material world, is not so easy. But Srila Prabhupada also said that Krishna consciousness is 90% association. So if we associate with devotees, then, in their association, we'll feel encouraged to chant and perform all the different varieties of devotional service according to our capacity. But coming back to today's verse, I'll just read the translation again because it's such a great benediction, a great benediction. Translation: in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods and blessed them. Well, I skipped something. In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yajna, sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation. And that yajna for us is the Sankirtan yajna. And by performing Sankirtan yajna, we will achieve everything desirable for living happily and ultimately achieving liberation. So we should take every opportunity to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
So if there is, we can take questions and comments. Oh, I see a hand. I see a hand.
Yeah, go ahead, Sita Mataji. Sita Thakur.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, in spite of conscious efforts, chanting is more of thinking japa. I know I try to hear and I can hear, but still the mind is not on the Lord. It is always like wandering. It becomes a thinking time.
Yes. Well, you mentioned it becomes a thinking time. Srila Prabhupada's disciple Gopal Bhatta Das, who has tremendous responsibility in ISKCON and also has a huge business. He told me that one thing he does for his japa, and he gets up very early every morning to chant. So that also helps to get up early and chant during the Brahma Muhurta, which begins an hour and 32 minutes before sunrise. But he said that one thing he does to help his japa is he makes lists of things he has to do lists. Because one of the things that our mind can choose to do during japa instead of hearing the holy name is to think of all the things we have to do. So by making his to-do list, the night before, I'm sure it's an ongoing process that continues. So by making his to-do list, he doesn't have to use his japa time to think about all the things he has to do, which is a common distraction during japa. So, yeah, we should, as the Bhagavad Gita says, that whenever and from wherever the mind wanders, one must bring it back to the self. So we have to do that. That is our duty while we're chanting, that if our mind wanders, we bring it back gently. And as His Grace Purijan Prabhu sometimes says, it's a battle, but he says that battle must be fought. Can't just surrender and give in to the mind and let it go wherever it wants. But we have to, fight that battle and bring the mind to the sound of the holy names. And Krishna will help. We pray to Krishna to be able to hear his holy name, pray to the holy name. And of course, it's beneficial to chant in front of the deities, chant in front of Tulsi Devi, chant early in the morning, but it's beneficial to chant anytime. But if one can, it is good to chant during Brahma Muhurta. One of our devotees on this meeting, named Priti Radhika Dasi, has a sister in Mumbai named Priya Gopika. And Priya Gopika told Priti Radhika, her sister, that she should chant at least one round before sunrise. And that is very good advice. Of course, it's good to chant more, but it struck me that was like a good suggestion from one devotee sister to another devotee sister. So we should try. Yeah. Chant early as far as possible. But again, chanting is always good any time of day. I'm sure you'll
Next, Shyam Vallabh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Always wonderful to see you.
Happy to see you too.
So since today is Ekadashi, reading through the Ekadashi stories every Ekadashi day, there's a lot of additional regulations or things that are suggested to be done on Ekadashi, besides just the fasting. What did Srila Prabhupada say about that? Like, there's some regulations about staying up overnight and having this particular thing to offer and this particular thing to offer. And there's a lot of devotees that are unable to do everything that's required. So besides the fasting, like what should we stress upon besides the fasting and the chanting on Ekadashi?
Srila Prabhupada writes in the Nectar of Devotion that the idea of fasting is to save time for chanting and hearing. And he does say that devotees stay up through the night chanting the glories of the Lord. So that's good. And there was a time when many of us, I think Tamal Krishna Goswami, Bhakti Charu Swami, myself, we would follow that strict Ekadasi. It would be nirjal. We wouldn't drink any water. And we would stay up throughout the night. And then we would break the fast only, at the appointed time, morning. And it was very potent. It was very potent. And I remember, doing it in Durban, South Africa, with disciples there. So if we can, why not? But, it depends what you have to do the next day. We were all like sannyasis or full-time temple devotees. And we didn't have to go to work the next day, for example. But chant. But although It is often said that we chant 25 rounds on Ekadasi. In researching what Srila Prabhupada said on the topic, he didn't actually say that. There was one conversation between him, between Srila Prabhupada and Tamal Krishna Goswami, and Tamal Krishna Goswami was sort of trying to get Srila Prabhupada to say that on Ekadasi we should chant minimum 25 rounds. And, Srila Prabhupada said our minimum is 16. So but many devotees, at the time of initiation, for example, they may vow to chant 25 rounds on Ekadasi, which is good. Why only 25? Why not more? So, yeah, the more the merrier.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Go ahead, Chandrika Mataji, I think you're next. Raise the hand.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru Maharaj, I just wanted to. So this question is from another devotee who was not able to be on this call.
Okay.
But it's not. It was a question, not directly related to the class. So is it okay to ask?
Yes.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. So he's asking, if we help a materialistic person, then the door to hell is opened. And he mentioned that he heard this in the on the day that the book was launched. And he said that. So he's asking, does this mean not giving any legitimate help or any kind of help? Thank you.
Yes, the verse in the third canto says that every learned person knows that attachment to the material is the greatest bondage of the spirit soul. But the same attachment, when transferred to the self-realized devotees of the Lord, opens the door to liberation. So as a general rule, one takes on the qualities of the person whom one is serving. I remember the first time His Holiness Niranjan Swami came to stay with me here in Carpinteria. I was very happy. I thought, I'll get to serve him. And by serving him, I'll get his good qualities. And specifically then I was thinking of his attachment to the holy name. But it's also true that if we serve materialistic people, which we shouldn't, as devotees, but there can be exceptions, which I'll describe. But if one serves materialistic people, then, one will become materialistic. One will take on their qualities. Now, the example that I will give as an exception is when we do it for a higher cause, when we do it for Krishna consciousness. And once in Mayapur, a visitor noticed that devotees were giving preferential treatment to rich people who visited. And the man was sort of, criticizing the devotees or accusing the devotees. And Srila Prabhupada replied by telling the story of a woman whose husband wanted to enjoy with a famous and expensive prostitute. And there was no way that the husband could afford her. So the wife became a servant of the prostitute to make money so that her husband could spend the night with the prostitute. And eventually, she was successful. So Srila Prabhupada said that, one may say that the wife was foolish, serving a prostitute. But she was doing it for a higher cause, to serve her husband. And so Srila Prabhupada said that, yes, we may serve materialistic people, but the ultimate goal is to please Krishna by engaging these materialistic people in Krishna's service. So in that sense, one may serve materialistic people for a higher cause. But otherwise, in general, we should avoid materialistic people unless we're able to, preach to them and engage them in devotional service. So I hope this will answer your friend's question.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Amritanand Prabhu, was good. Amritanand Prabhu, you're there? Maybe on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare
I'd first of all like to express my gratitude, Maharaj. Many months ago on this ICNJ forum, a very simple instruction of yours to turn on the camera on Zoom meetings. And you had explained then that our entire Krishna conscious philosophy is based on the personal concept. Personally, to me, I've been doing that ever since, either in your class or any other Zoom forum. And what I've realized is that when the camera was off, I personally perhaps would be lying down, reclining. At least when the camera is on, you know that others are watching, so you sit up straight. And I noticed that it has helped me pay a little bit more attention than just being an anonymous, black screen. So that instruction was very helpful to me. Thank you, Maharaj. Taking this particular instruction further, what is it that we can do? When the camera is on, we are kind of conscious and we become a little bit more disciplined and careful. But when the camera is off, and then there are so many temptations, either at work or you come back from work, you want to catch the news or maybe some Netflix or something like that. So what is it that we can have in our mind, like a camera, that will say that, hey. So if you could please instruct, Maharaj. Thank you.
Well, that's our conscience. As far as the news, I think of a very nice statement that Vaisheshika Prabhu from ISV made. Breaking news. No more watching breaking news. And after that, I found a quotation from Srila Prabhupada in which he spoke about the same thing, that there's really no need to, tune into the news because basically it's always the same anyway in a different form. But sometimes, Prabhupada also did say there's no prohibition against reading the ordinary news, or as nowadays we have, seeing the broadcasts. During 1977, when Srila Prabhupada was in Juhu, he was quite fascinated by the downfall of Indira Gandhi. And occasionally he would ask the disciples to read from the newspaper. Someone needs to be on mute. So occasionally he would have a disciple read to him from the newspaper, especially about Indira Gandhi's downfall. But then once afterwards he said, "What the fools and rascals are saying, that is newspaper." So, and then once he, caught his disciple, Shamsundar, who was his secretary for many years, with a Time magazine in his hand. And Srila Prabhupada said that the people in this magazine are so sinful that just by looking at their faces, you lose your pious credits. So, we talk about associating with materialistic people and how harmful it can be. But as we know, association can be, physical, vapu, or by words, by vani. So anyway, basically we want to save time for Krishna consciousness. That's the basic idea. Netflix, what can I say about Netflix? But we have a lot of Krishna conscious videos. I mean, Yadubara Prabhu's series following Srila Prabhupada is wonderful. Something like 18 cassettes. You can spend a lot of time with that. And there was a period when I would invite my aged mother. This was when I moved to California, Carpinteria, and my mother was staying with my sister nearby in Santa Barbara. So once a week, whatever the day was, we would invite my mother for dinner. And, she would get prasad if she liked it. And then afterwards, we would watch something. And we began by watching all the videos about Srila Prabhupada, and she really liked them. But then, after we finished all of them, I didn't know what to show her. So I thought of, because Nrsingananda Prabhu from ITV, he's taken what they call Indian mythological movies and made subtitles in English. So there was one, I think Sita Swayamvar, Sita's Wedding, but that was like too foreign for my mother to relate to. So then we started watching, it didn't go on for that long, but we started watching like religious movies. For example, the Ten Commandments, which was pretty good. It was, there's nothing bad about it. And yeah, it had a biblical message. So, we should try to be careful. I remember once Tamal Krishna Goswami said that the problem with movies is that they almost all have some romantic angle. I guess he might have felt it more as a sannyasi, that it wasn't, but it's not really that good to watch that. I'm thinking of a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, on which I spoke recently. Ayur Harati Vai Pumsam, that the rising and setting of the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone, except one who utilizes the time by discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead. Now, how is that? We can understand that by the rising and setting of, by rising and setting, the sun decreases the duration of life of everyone. That we can understand easily. But except for those who utilize the time in discussing topics of the all-good personality of Godhead, yes. Because if we use our time in that way, we develop our eternal life. We come to our eternal life. So our duration of life is not being decreased, but rather it's being increased unlimitedly by our realizing our eternal life with Krishna. So yeah, taking all these factors into consideration, it's better not to waste time. But so is that okay? Or
Maharaj, if I'm permitted to follow up on one of the answers you gave, Maharaj, please.
Yes.
Maharaj, conscience is there. It tells you in your mind, listen, don't waste your time, if you're going to news or something. So how should we obey the conscience? Because sometimes you follow through with the conscience and sometimes you say, okay, I need a break. I've done enough of Krishna conscious for the day. I need a breather or something like that. And there are times when you can obey the conscience and listen to your conscience, and times when you kind of fool yourself. So when that voice talks to you, what suggestions would you?
Well, one version of a camera could be the people around you. I don't know how you would feel about that, but tell the people around you that, I don't want to watch TV or whatever. I don't want to watch movies, but sometimes I'm tempted. So if you see me going in that direction, you can remind me of what my determination was. That would be like a camera. I remember the first night. Anyway, there's a context to it which is not relevant to the point, but the first night Jayadvaita Swami and I spent the night together in Spain, and in the sort of castle at New Brajamandala. So he said, that, I want to wake up at such and such time. And when you try to wake me up at that time, if I ask you to let me sleep longer, don't listen to me, what I'm saying then, but listen to me, what I'm saying now. I want you to force me to get up. And if nothing else works, you can put water on my face. So, yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Tarani Radha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for teaching us to be so personal. Every time you come to our ICNJ calls, I make it a point that I never miss it. Thank you so much for your teachings. Today, Maharaj, my question was, you were mentioning that how chanting is easy, but the determination to chant is not. So please could you explain how can I enhance my own determination, Maharaj?
Okay. Well, from your name, it appears that you are an initiated devotee.
Yes, Maharaj.
So you have already vowed to chant a minimum of 16 rounds.
Yes, Maharaj.
Which you are doing.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. And so but then there's a question of the quality. And so one could say that the determination to chant with attention may not be so easy. But as we've discussed, rising early in the morning, chanting during Brahma Muhurta, chanting in front of deities, chanting in front of Tulsi Devi, chanting with others who are serious about japa, all of these can help improve the quality. And yeah, we want to do that.
So, these are things which I'm already doing, Maharaj, but when I think like how I can better my chanting, so on those lines I'm asking, Maharaj.
Oh, maybe chant more.
Okay. So by having a sankalpa to chant more, that way I'm going to be increasing my determination. Is that what you're saying, Maharaj?
Yeah, if you're determined to stick to your sankalpa, then yes, it would help your determination. It would help your japa.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Prema Manjari Mataji, then Malati Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Please explain. Guru Maharaj, regarding chanting, my experience is like yesterday when we had attended the Sankirtan chanting in Gopinath temple, and in association with so many wonderful devotees with Madhava and Radhika Mataji, and for 2 hours we were just sitting, in one place and so focused, and everything we were experiencing, all of us, like tears were rolling and hair was standing and mind wouldn't go anywhere but to Krishna's thoughts. And so what I wanted to ask is that the Sankirtan chanting is more potent, I feel, and it is because that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us. But the same thing when we do on our own, how do we bring the same mood? It's not, even if we wake up early and so many things as you advised, but that same kind of that feeling of trance and all doesn't happen maybe we are not so pure to chant alone, something like that.
So Jiva Goswami says that kirtan has a special potency to awaken spiritual emotions. And you experience that. And it's especially true with such kirtan leaders as Madhava Prabhu and Radhika Mataji. And that is an experience that many of us have, that when we chant in kirtan with someone who's very deeply absorbed in the kirtan, then we also become more absorbed in the kirtan and more affected by the kirtan. And as far as japa, I mean, it really helps to chant with sincere chanters. I could actually feel the difference. At one time, I think we had all three. I think Ratatvaja Swami, Giridhari Swami, and Jayadvaita Swami were all staying with me in Carpinteria. So I was chanting japa in my temple room, and Ratatvaja Swami joined me, and I could immediately feel like my consciousness was uplifted. And he and I were chanting for a while. Then Giridhari Swami came in, and Ratatvaja Swami and I could both feel that our consciousness was elevated. And then His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami came in, and the other three of us, Giridhari Swami, Ratatvaja Swami, and I, we could feel our consciousness be elevated. So that, the presence of elevated devotees, I mean in general, but specifically we're talking about while chanting japa, that will elevate our consciousness while we're chanting. I mean, we don't always get that chance. But I remember you mentioned Chopati. I remember when I would spend the night there. And in the morning, the atmosphere of japa in the temple was so intense. It really brought you into that mood of japa. And His Holiness Radhanath Swami would have the devotees sit in circles, maybe of 6 or 8 people. And they would monitor each other. Coming back to the camera, they would monitor each other. And if someone was like dozing off or looked distracted, they would, call the person's attention to the defect. And it was powerful japa then.
Thank you very much.
Malati Mataji, then Radha Pada Dulya. But 9:30, maybe we'll take Malati Mataji and then may have to look for the next opportunity. Is that okay, Maharaj? Because of the time 9:30.
Yeah. I mean, what about staying up throughout the night chanting the glories of the Lord Ekadasi?
Haribo, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai.
But no, we'll let you. We'll leave that to the individuals.
Yes. Malati Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Am I audible, Maharaj?
Yes.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Maharaj. I just want to clear my point. Actually, I'm always surrounded by materialist people. But earlier I thought I would engage them in Krishna consciousness in some or the other way. But then when I engaged them, they got close to devotees. Then they started blaspheming. That was a double attack on me. It's like I couldn't bear that at least. Then I thought by myself, it's better to save myself because I am also drowning. So it's am I acting selfish now, as I feel that it's important for me to go over this material nature and pray for them. I just do one thing, pray for them, and just do my duties towards them and engage myself fully in Krishna consciousness. That's the way I deal with my closest materialist people around. So I want to know if I'm doing right, or should I change my perspective of, um, please, Guru Maharaj, guide me.
No, what you're doing is perfect.
Okay.
Srimad Bhagavatam says, Prema Maitri Kripa Peksha. Prema, we give our love to the Supreme Personality of God. Maitri, we make friends with devotees. Kripa, we give mercy to the innocent. We preach to the innocent. And upeksha, we neglect the envious. So it sounds like you're describing envious people.
Mm-hmm.
You should neglect them.
Yes.
But his commentary on this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that although one neglects them, one can still pray for them, which you're doing. So what you're doing is 100% perfect.
Thank you. Thank you. Can I ask one more question? It's a small one, but then I want to just, as you said, Maharaj, that Krishna consciousness is fully dependent on 90% of association. But I have seen that sometimes when we take more of association, we get more close to devotees, and we tend to see the negatives rather than positives. So it's I'm like, I just want to clear my mind because I've seen so many that they start blaspheming devotees. That you get close to devotees, better to stay far off. It's better to stay at home because nowadays it's like such a technological this that you can hear. It's better to take Prabhupada's association by reading his books and hearing lectures. So I just want to be clear. So what is the importance of association at this very point of time?
Yeah, but as we mentioned, there are two types of this, Vani and Vapu.
Mm-hmm.
And taking Srila Prabhupada's association by Vani, that's also association. It's not that you have to be in the room with someone,
Mm-hmm.
but one can associate through Vani also.
Okay.
And in that way, you, in a way, can be more sure of the association.
Okay. But Maharaj, when we read, every individual has different perspective of understanding the books of Srila Prabhupada. So it's better to hear more or read more?
Srila Prabhupada wanted us to read his books,
Mm-hmm.
but hearing also, I mean, Prabhupada spoke every day, so we could hear him. That was a Bhagavatam class, Gita class. He would discuss on his morning walks. He would have room conversations. So we should hear about that.
Yes.
It's also very important to read books.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
With that, I think we will close the question answer session because the time already late. So we'll have again next session at that time we can ask Madhupad Prabhu, Devkinandan Prabhu.
I just want to extend our gratitude. Maharaj, it was a wonderful session, and whenever you give class, you give so in-depth class, it makes us ponder on all the wonderful points which you are making, which we can imbibe in our Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much, Maharaj.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Speaking also on Shivratri, is that right, Krishna Prabhu?
Correct, Prabhu. March 11th, Thursday, I think.
Oh, March 11th. Okay.
In the evening, 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
We'll have quick announcements after. First, we'll offer our respectful obeisances. Vancha, kalpatarubhyasya,
Sindhuri evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Namo Namo.
Thank you so much,
Vaishnav
Maharaj.
Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavad.
Hare
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dhanyavad.
Dandavat pranam, Maharaj. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
All glories to Maharaj.
Thank you.
Happy Ekadashi Guru Maharaj.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
For those who are on the East Coast, it's 7:12 to 10:30 tomorrow, Parna time. You check your Parna times depending on where you are.
Oh, yeah.
Tomorrow is Jagadish Pandit, Sri Jagadish Pandit's appearance day for the devotees.
Preeti Radhika's sister.
Huh?
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I am Dattatreya from Joplin, Missouri. So we met again in Dallas Temple.
Oh.
A few times ago, Maharaj.
I remember.
Yeah. Maharaj, you mentioned me that your book will come out, last book, when it will come out. It is coming out or it will be?
No, it's out.
Out? Oh.
Out.
Okay. Oh, okay.
But this is an advanced copy because books have to come by ship from Mumbai to Los Angeles for America. But otherwise, it's out in India. But we have to wait a little, maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks for the books to reach America.
Okay. So would you have any time that you are visiting Dallas or Houston? Do you have any time frame? Due to COVID, I was thinking about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, because of the coronavirus pandemic, I'm not traveling anywhere.
That's good.
Yeah, outside of California, I spend maximum time in America in Dallas and Houston, and when circumstances permit, I'd love to go there again. Copy my book.
Come on, please. Dandavat pranam on your lotus feet, Maharaj.
Those who want to get Maharaj's book, I think one of the devotee posted, the juhustory.com. So you can visit how to get the book. I will build you a temple. That is the new book Maharaj has written. So please avail.
Is it available on Amazon also?
It will eventually.
Is it in Amazon available?
No, not yet.
Not yet. No.
मूडला स्टॉप आता नऊला स्टॉप मूडचं कमी म्हणतात मूडचं चालू
Oh, shall we chant some japa now?
Yes, Maharaj.
Oh my God. The whole time film.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna, Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare Krishna, can the host mute everybody so we can hear Maharaj? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram 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 Ram. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Ram Ram. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam Eva Kevalam, Kalana Stevana, Stevana, Stevakatirani. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, 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 Ram Ram. Bring Tulsi. Bring Tulsi. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram. 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare 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 Ram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram. Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram. 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 Hare Krishna.
How was your program?
It just ended literally this moment.
Yeah, I know. I thought I'll catch you quickly.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question for you. Srila Prabhupada wasn't present at the Juba temple opening, right?
No.
Yeah, I know. They got a whole mix-up on this article that. So the temple opening took place where in 78?
January 1478, and Prabhupada left November 1477, exactly 2 months. Okay.
Nobody's awake there.
Well,
She's in the bed but with the eyes open.
no, I think I'll chant here, at least for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, at Kadasi, we can always chant more.
I cannot find my japa. I don't know where I put it.
Oh.
No, I know that I put it in a strange place. While I was putting it, something inside was telling me, but now I cannot remember where, and because it's dark.
Oh.
When I am chanting with another one.
Yeah, I was going to offer you another one.
I have one plastic one.
Plastic?
I mean, yeah. It's the first japa I did myself when we didn't have japas back in time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, we have plenty, but that's fine.
ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. We continue with the Japa Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. We continue with the Japamala. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. It seems like your speakers may be on mute. We can't hear you. I think Maharaj has signed out. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasinduvyavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnaveभ्यो
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Hare Krishna, Danvat, all devotees, Hari Bol, Radhe Radhe.